Hello everyone. A couple of days ago we left Guam, headed westward on about a 2.5 month trip. We left Guam and headed, like we said, over westward to Central Europe to where, Russell?
Budapest, Hungary.
Budapest, Hungary, and I'm totally guilty of calling it Budapest, but it is actually Budapest. And we are going to be here a couple of weeks before we move on to our next destination. So we wanted to give you a little tour of the apartment that we're staying at. And we actually found this on booking.com, which I know we've heard people have horror stories of booking with these online services and not directly with the owner. But so far, we've only been here a couple of days, but so far it's been great. And we've really enjoyed where we're staying. We're only a couple of miles from, I guess, the main tourist attractions, but we're very close to Hero Square and some of the castles that are here, so it's very interesting location. So we go into the door, as Russell's showing you there. You have a key fob that you have attached to your apartment. You can see all of these Hungarian tiles. This is a very old building, you can tell. As you go up the first flight of stairs here, there is a little library here for you to pick up a book, I guess, if you want, and read while you're staying here. But the main attraction is this hidden courtyard. And apparently there are a number of buildings in Budapest that are built this way. A lot of history between or behind the hidden gardens. And they've got all kinds of plants here. They had hydrangeas. They've got a huge magnolia tree. There were snapdragons and all kinds of coleus there on the ground. You can see there's some of the snapdragons. Here's some more hydrangeas that aren't quite blooming yet, ferns, and then a ginkgo tree over here on the side in a pot, which was very beautiful. I'm not really sure who maintains the garden. Certainly there has to be someone. But the main attraction, I guess, of the garden are these hanging vines coming down from these 4 floors of the apartment building. And at first, I thought maybe they were Virginia creeper, which I'm highly allergic to. But after looking at the leaves, they're not Virginia creeper, but I'm not really certain what they are. Unfortunately, this being an older building, there is no elevator or lift. So you do have to walk up 2 flights of stairs. Another thing about Europe is what we call the first floor in America, they call the ground floor. So we are actually on the 2nd floor, but in American terms, we're on the 3rd floor. So if you book an apartment over here, you might want to clarify that, because if someone had said, hey, you're on the 2nd floor, I would have definitely been on the wrong floor. Luckily, our owner was very clear on which floor we were staying at. So a lot of the apartments have little bistro tables out front, and you can just see how pretty our view is right outside of our front door. Here's kind of a close-up of these vines and just how pretty they are. There's also hanging pots along the banisters here that are full of flowers. They haven't quite started blooming yet, but I feel like some of these units are rental units, but I also feel like some of these units, people live here full time. You can see some of the laundry there hanging out, and you see some of the same people over and over, some older folks as well. So I feel like these are full-time residences here for a number of these people. Another look over, there's some cafe lights and different things, but yeah, just very, very pretty here, and very pleased with what we have gotten. And kind of turning around here, we'll show you there's a little area. If you smoke, you can come outside and smoke, I guess. We don't, obviously. There's some more of the hanging pots that I was telling you about on the outside of the building. Okay, let's head into the apartment and see what we actually got for what we paid for.
So as you can see, I'm sitting here on the bed trying to put my shoes off or whatever, but as we come in, here's the kitchen. It's just a little studio apartment that we've rented for 2 weeks. It's got your average sink, and if you notice, we've got an oven here that was very difficult to figure out how to operate. men in Europe. So we finally got that figured out.
No, not we, Russell.
Yeah.
Russell figured this out.
So
He is the
anyway,
operator of this machine.
yeah. That's been my nemesis. But anyway, we've got a little refrigerator here. It's a small European refrigerator, but yeah, we've got the Diet Coke in there. You've got to have the Diet Coke. No, we're not drinking wine. For everybody back home that's wondering, that was supplied by the owner of the apartment for renting. Here's a washing machine we had, which is a luxury in these apartments. Thankfully, we've got that for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a dryer, it's just a washer. But the good thing is they do have a drying rack in the bathroom that we bring out. And if we wash a load of clothes at night, in the morning they're dry, it's no problem.
Right.
And as Russell opened the cabinets there, you can see it's a well-equipped kitchen, all the utensils and things.
Yeah, we've got a little wardrobe here that we can put all of our clothes and stuff that we pack, a little TV, and then, as you can see, a hanging rack for your coats and stuff. It was warmed over here by a radiator, boiler and all that, but we asked the owner if they would turn it down and turn the air conditioning on.
Yeah.
And we finally got the remote where we could control the air because it's hot in here. Turning around, you can see the little sitting area. Not much there, but at least it's a place to sit down and read if you wanted to. And then nothing real big in Europe on the bathroom, just about basically what you get. You get a towel drying rack, a small shower, sink, and a toilet.
And ladies, shaving your legs in this shower is not for the faint of heart. Let me just tell you, I'm not that skinny a girl, and it's interesting to get your legs shaved for sure.
Anyway, it's enough to do the job what you need. So, and then you see over to the right by the mop bucket or whatever, there's a drying rack for you to hang your clothes after you wash.
Yeah, and one other thing, I think we mentioned in a previous video, in Europe, at least every time we've been to Europe, we've never had wash rags in the room. And if you want a wash rag for your face, ladies, make sure that you bring one. That little turquoise one there on the shower is one that I brought with us. So they usually just supply towels, and that's it, and maybe a hand towel. And that's what we had in this unit as well. The owner was great. They've left, I guess, travel tips or places that we can
points
visit.
of interest in Budapest.
Yeah.
So, nothing real fancy. I mean, it serves the purpose, but we like it.
It's very modern. I think probably 95% of the stuff in here is from IKEA, which, I'm a huge fan of. And it looks like the owner owns the apartment right next door to us as well, because it has a similar name. But like I said, some of the apartments appear to be permanent homes for people. Some are renovated, some are not. Another good feature of this apartment, I think I mentioned the location. Right across the street is a little grocery store or convenience store where we can get the majority of the items that we need. And it's also close to a bus line and I guess it's a tram. And we did purchase the 15-day transit pass for Budapest, there I go again, saying it wrong. And so that's very convenient from that standpoint. We don't have to walk 2 miles to get to a bus stop. And it's also near a great park with a lot of historical features, and that'll probably be our next video, showing you all this phenomenal park that's just maybe a couple of blocks from here.
Not very far.
Yeah. And, we've not explored too much because, as I said, we've only been here a couple of days. But it's a great location, and so far, so good. Russell had gone out on the balcony last night, and it doesn't look like it's very dark yet, but you can see as the lights are coming on and the various apartments across the way, how cute it looks. And then I'm going to go out a little bit later and show you some of a little bit darker, I guess, but very well maintained for the most part, I would say. And apparently, traditionally, these buildings, a little bit of history on them, apparently there were usually on the the ground floor, there would have been businesses on the front of the building at least. And then if you look at a Google Maps aerial view of Budapest, you'll see these buildings that are squares with holes in the center that are very much like this. They have the open courtyards. And there are various reasons for them building them this way. I know Budapest grew rapidly, and that's why they built these multi-story living areas. And apparently, according to what we've heard, the wealthier you were, you stayed up toward the front of the street, and I guess the less wealthier you were, you stayed toward the back of the building, which I think would have been opposite, I guess, because you wouldn't have been right on the street. But that's how it was, I guess, historically. But we're hoping to maybe get into some more of these courtyards. There's some that are still full of businesses and that kind of thing, so I'm sure we'll see some while we're here in the next couple of weeks. But thank you all for watching. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. Have a blessed day.